The market is in full on fear. What should you be doing right now while everyone around us is talking about a potential World War III? Even the President of the United States of America tweeting about nuclear weapons and what is going on. Of course, we got the big situation with Iran and Israel and just a lot of crazy things going on. Very bad things, but nevertheless, what it's doing to the charts is adding a lot of volatility, let's say, and a lot of bearishness, okay, a lot of things pulling price down. You know, with such tweets, with such fear of a world war, naturally, that is going to have an effect on the charts. And we are not going to be focusing so much today on the war, on the potentials and the ifs, the whats, the this, blah, 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 blah. We're going to be focusing on the charts. We're going to focus on the technical analysis and where we have some good trade setups. So, yeah. This is going to be a fun video for us traders, blocking out all of that fear, not focusing on the tunnel vision, which is a war and how we should be selling, but, focused on the charts. What new setups do we have? What good trades do we have? That's what I enjoy doing. That's what we're going to focus on in this video. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into the charts and what we are looking at right now. So, first of all, this tweet, okay, of course, I want to focus on the technical analysis, but this is something that we need to be aware of. So a quick 2-minute recap on what happens when Trump tweets. Well, Trump has a very big effect on the market. Like his last term, it was the same. He would make a tweet, massive pump, massive dump. This term has been the same. He will make a tweet. He will talk about the tariffs. Well, now it's talking about the war. Each thing has a very big influence and effect on the chart. However much we would like to, love that Trump can tweet whatever he wants and don't worry about it. There's no effect. We have to understand that there is an effect on the charts. There is, influence from what he says. Okay, whether it's good or bad, the market does react. So with that in mind, from a technical analysis perspective, what did we reject from yesterday? I was actually very bullish early morning yesterday into the afternoon, looking all day for continuation. I took no shorts at all during this move to the upside. Why? Well, the order flow was looking good, the charts were looking bullish, and really simply, there was a big level around 107,500. And as we were coming into each of these levels, I was saying no short trades, everything looking good for continuation higher. Where was the rejection? The level that we rejected from in the end was actually the value area high. Here you had a little bit of confluence in terms of the value area high. You had some liquidity in terms of the wick to be filled. And you also had a support resistance flip. So we're talking about 3 different levels of confluence at the value area high. As I was telling my team earlier in the day, while we were trading around 107,600, still not in a short trade, want to see the value area high tapped, still feel there's strength for another push higher. And that was correct. We did continue upwards throughout the day and topping out eventually towards 11 p.m. UK time. At this point, we have hit into the value area high. So we've hit that resistance, what we were waiting for throughout the day. And then on top of that, you had the biggest factor of all, and that was a Trump tweet. Or not necessarily, right? We could say the Trump tweet, but just the world war potential, people getting dragged into this ongoing war. And, that's what creates it as a world war, right? It starts off with something and then more people get involved, right? Obviously, this is a bit of a satire, but Trump saw us so close to all-time highs and said, no, not today. Of course, this is a bit of a joke, trying to bring light to a very bad situation, but you get the idea, right? This war, tweets and ongoing situation instilled a lot of fear, and naturally the price did drop. Okay, so we did get a big drop in price, and then, of course, continuation. I am in a short trade on Bitcoin from $107,700. And funny enough, this was actually a short taken just after this tweet. So I saw the tweet. I realized, well, of course, we have come up into resistance. We have hit that value area high. I did not short the value area high, but as I saw the rejection, I just want you to understand, from a technical perspective, I've then seen a rejection from, let me actually draw this on so you can actually understand what's going on here. So fixed range from current price action to all-time high. I've seen us come in and filled a wick. I've seen us come and then reject from the value area high. I've seen the rejection from this really nice resistance, support, resistance flip. I've got 3 levels of confluence. I didn't want to aggressively short a high because I actually still felt that we could push higher. But upon seeing the tweet, I knew this is negative. This is going to have a bearish effect. And so within just a few minutes of that, I managed to lock in, well, this very short trade, which now sits in, nearly $2,500 of profit from a short taken last night. Not too bad, right? And so this is, not to show, hey, look at me, I took a short trade, but I want you to understand why, how, and what's coming next. So first of all, trade the charts. I have had a very big open bullish bias, and I want to say this not just recently, but if you watch my recent even Elliott wave counts, right, taking longs, becoming very bullish all the way back at $18,000. So this is not a recent bit of bullish, but I flipped bullish as soon as we got this move to the upside way back in January 2023 is when I flipped significantly higher term time frame bullish again on Bitcoin. And again, once we broke out back in November 2024, again, another nice significant breakout of the charts. So first of all, I have to say this, I have been bullish all the way back since the lows. So it's not like I'm only just becoming bullish now, but I have over recent weeks, maintained an ongoing bullish bias. I still believe that we can hit new all-time highs. But what I want to, approach in this video is this changing things? With a potential massive world war, is this going to drastically change the outcome of the prediction that I have towards new all-time highs? Is this something that we can ignore? Again, I am now in short trades on Bitcoin. So what are we looking for next? Well, first of all, I want to explain this short trade really quickly. I took the short. Why? Well, first of all, we rejected from the target, which was value area high of the day, right? Looking for want to see value area high tap, still feel their strength for another push higher. We go from 7.5 to nearly $109,000, and we hit into the value area high. I did not short once we got the rejection. On top of the tweet is when I took my short trade, so combining a little bit of the two. And then we move on to, okay, fair enough, amazing, you're in the short. What are we looking at next, Daniel? Well, that's what I'm going to talk through now. Well, you might have actually saw I had some pretty nice analysis here on levels that we're coming into. So you can see, well, I mean, it's fairly obvious. This was a level I was waiting for, the point of control. Have I taken a long trade here? No. Why? Well, there's not been any reaction so far, right? So even on a 5-minute chart, you can see you've just come straight down through this level. If we just add this onto recent price action, you can see we've just come straight down through the level. So we now have to understand we are into a zone of support. We never look at one exact dollar. Okay, we never look at one exact dollar. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to take this from the all-time high. You can be aware of the value area low there, $103,500. Expand it to the whole of this range. You can then see you have a slightly different level of the point of control lower down in the chart. You can also see that the value area low and value area high are also lower on the overall range perspective. This is where you have to understand different time frames, different bits of analysis are all helpful. Anyway, where I'm going with this is we're going to start to build up a confluent zone. So in my opinion, this is starting from around $104,900. We're going to build from low to the high. CC Fibonacci, you can see the CC Fibonacci right in the point of control. So this is giving us for me anyway, giving me a zone of support from around $104,925,000 down to around $103,200. So this is a fairly large box of support, but this is my personal next zone of where I will be interested in along. Again, much like the short that I took here, I did not short the absolute high of the move. I waited for the move into the level. I then saw the pullback from the level. What is that? It's a lower term time frame market structure change. So I would look for similar here. Am I going to try and time the pinpoint absolute low of the move? No. What I will do is wait for a move into that zone, because this is the big thing here. It's a zone. It's not an exact level. I'll wait for the move into the zone, and then I will do something like when I took this short trade here. I'll wait for a little bit of a market structure change on a lower term time frame to give me, that increase in probabilities, a better invalidation. That's the key here. I want an entry trigger and I want a good invalidation. Without that, I really mean it. You are just gambling. This is what, what I would remain patient for, I know very key word there is patient. Okay, it's not being overly aggressive. That would be my viewpoint of what am I waiting for next? Well, I'm waiting for a little bit of a drop to the downside naturally. Um, one thing to bear in mind, even when we're very bullish, we're never going to be longing up at the highs here. When price moves up, the only one and only trade we look for is shorts. Just as when price is dropping right now, I'm not looking for a short at $103,000. The one and only trade I will look for on this drop is a long. So when price is increasing, I look for my shorts. When price is dropping, I look for my longs. So this is my next really nice, strong, in my opinion, long trade zone. But it does require, just like it required on this short, was a little bit of confirmation, a little bit of a market structure change to increase those probabilities, what to give me an entry trigger and an invalidation stop loss. Okay, so, going back to the overall underlying question of that we've been talking through here is, does this world war fear, because right now it's of course not a world war, but if we are talking about nuclear weapons, if we're talking about a nuclear war, people wanting to get nukes, etc., 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 first of all, will this affect the charts? If there is a world war, which I still do not think is very likely at the moment, but nevertheless, if there is a world war, is it likely Bitcoin gets a massive drop? The answer is yes. Bitcoin is extremely correlated to the stock market. And, the stock market doesn't like war. It's as simple as that. Look back through history. So if we are to see a world war, is it likely Bitcoin drops? Yes. However much you might like it to be a safe haven, it's very much more correlated to the stocks. And it's likely, stocks drop if there is a war. So is this something to be aware of? The answer is yes, it's something to be aware of. Moving on, does it affect the trade I'm going to take here at around $103,000? No. I will happily look for my long trade at $103,000. But what's the most important thing here? Risk management, stop loss. Am I going to long $103,000 and be like, hey guys, I'm longing here at $103,000. It's good support. I'm not going to put a stop loss though. I'm just going to hope for the best. Place my long, $103,000. Amazing. I'm in a trade. I go to sleep. No stop loss. Wake up tomorrow. Oh my God, we're trading at $84,000. I have been wrecked. That's my fault for not using a stop loss. So guess what, my friends? I'm never going to be in that situation. Why? Because I will place a stop loss. We'll have that most basic, crucial form of risk management, having a stop loss at the invalidation. So what I mean by this, long story short, is it doesn't matter to me from a trading perspective if there's a world war or not. Okay, I understand, yes, if there's a world war, the chart is going to be very bearish. But will, at this point in time where we're just talking about ifs and maybes, am I going to be scared? Am I going to be feared into not taking a long at the support? The answer is no. I will take my long happily. And if I get stopped out, whoa, I take a few $1,000s of loss. It's really not the end of the world. My risk is defined on dollar amount. I will happily risk a few $1,000s on the long trade. The worst that happened, oh no, I lose like 0.1% of my account. Who cares, right? It's a game of probabilities. It's a game of trading, and it's like, so many people get overhung on a loss. It's like, I will take a loss, I will take a losing trade, and I have people talking and tweeting about it for like a week. Oh my God, you lost this trade, Daniel. Oh my God, ha 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 ha, you lost the trade. It's like, people care about their loss way more than me. And the only reason I can figure this is because they have no idea about risk management. I truly mean it. Like, who cares really if you take a loss? Because everybody takes losses in trading. The only people that's not taking a loss in trading are, I don't know, because I don't know anyone that doesn't take a loss in trading. That's just, who is taking a loss in trading? Everybody. Okay. And what defines us to do well and succeed in trading is how we manage our risk. Okay. So, long story short, am I going to take a long hit? Yes, if I get the good reaction. If I take a loss, I'll journal it. What went wrong? Well, maybe I made a little bit of an aggressive entry. Okay, maybe there was an underlying influence on the chart. Maybe, the pull was for lower liquidity. If I take the loss, I will journal. I will figure out what went wrong. And, I will analyze that to, learn into the future. Every loss is a lesson. But if I take a loss, that is it. It's a loss. something to learn from, I move on. People are going to tweet about it for another week to come, but I've already moved on from it, 1 hour later. Anyway, I digress. We go back over to the charts. And of course, if I take a loss on this long, but I still have a short trade running, which is going to be going into more and more profits, right? So this is the advantage of having a short from relatively near the highs. That if you take a long and it loses, I might lose a few $1,000s on the long trade, but simultaneously this short is going to make me a few $1,000s. So you see it almost cancels it out here. And this is why shorting the market is so helpful, as a hedge, as a trade in itself. We can make money on longs, amazing. We can make money on shorts, amazing. Okay. So, going back to the overall question, will a World War III negatively affect Bitcoin and likely see a massive crash? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If that happens, goodbye. We're going to get a massive crash. Right now, am I happy to take a long trade around 103, 104,000? Yeah, it's a good support level. I'm also in my short, so if my long loses, so be it. I'll keep my short running. I'll move on to another trade setup. So just as I'm interested in longs, of course, there are some more short trades to be aware of, maybe around 109,500. But this is a very cautious one because I'm understanding we're in a lot of fear right now. I do feel if we start to get a bit of a rally underway, I do think we are in a very nice short squeeze scenario, honestly. So if we get the strength to come up to here, it's a very cautious short because, my underlying bias still is that we can hit a new all-time high. Okay, so I would be a little bit cautious here, to be honest with you, but nevertheless, it's something, have an alert, be aware of. And there's a few things that I wanted to end here before I give a final recap on the trades. But a few things that I wanted to say here before we end. And the first is, when we talk about signals, many people in trading, when they first find out I do trading, they're always like, can I copy your signals? And I just want to say this, it's super important. Of course, Chart Champions is not a signal group, first of all, but second of all, a lot of people think we are. But what I want to say here is we're not. But on top of that, you will never, even if copying the best signals in the world, if you do not understand the trade, you will still lose. While a signal giver can potentially win. Why? Imagine I enter a long trade. I give a signal. I'm entering a long trade, $105,000. Imagine price does this. Just play along with me here. Here's a signal. We're targeting new all-time highs. La 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 la. This is my signal, right? Let's say. Okay. Well, what happens next? If I come down here, I take a long trade, price increases. Okay, I'm thinking, oh, this is really nice. I may be locking a take profit at 1. Price starts to come down. I've done my position sizing correctly. Maybe then price does this and then it does this and it gets stopped out. Me as like the signal giver, let's say, kind of lock take profit 1, could have moved stop loss to entry, will have managed the trades. The person following the signals, what happens here? They get entry at the signal. It comes down a little bit lower. They close in fear. Already the signal has failed for that person because they've totally traded on emotions. I'm able to hold a little bit underwater, understand the trade is still ongoing. There's no invalidation. Most people, like I'm saying here, they will exit too early. Why? Because probably they've done the original size of the position wrong. They've entered too much. They don't understand the risk. They don't even know how to calculate the formula of how do I only risk $100 per trade. They have no idea what they're doing. Why? Because they don't have the education. So even if you follow the best signals in the world, the signal giver can win, let's say, on a losing trade, because let's say if it does this, many people would say, oh, this was a losing trade. Signal giver himself could have locked in take profit 1, move stop loss to entry. This is a winning trade. Okay. So I just wanted to talk about that really quickly because I felt it was interesting. I could go on and talk about it for another 10 minutes, but I'm not going to. And the next thing I wanted to say is this, and I wanted to just, this is something from me personally that I just wanted to say. I was in bed last night and I was just feeling a lot of joy and blessings from the Lord. So I am a Christian. And for me, it was just, I wanted to just tweet, but also dedicate a few minutes here to just say, I understand the respect and influence. I was talking to my wife about it, and it's like, I understand the respect and influence I have. And it's not something that I take lightly. I fully, it's crazy. We were actually going through some DMs that people sent me, and it's like, wow, these people are very passionate about what I do. truly like I am having an effect in changing their lives. Like they have so much passion and love. And this is not something that I'm playing with or taking lightly. I want to say that for me, this is a true blessing from God that has gifted me the gift of talent of trading and then sharing. Okay, it's all well and good having a talent of trading and then keeping it to myself, but I've done what I need, and now I'm doing my best. Am I perfect? No. How can I still learn to do better? Yes. But this is the thing. I'm going to remain super humble. Okay, I humble myself every day, and I want to. And I say this because I give the praise to God. I wake up every day. I truly appreciate what I have and the mission and the calling that I have to educate people in trading. And I do not take any of this for granted. I would just wanted to say a massive thank you. I'm so happy that I can help. I'm so happy that people can say, "Well, Daniel is my idol." For me, it's really amazing. But it's also like, wow, this is so crazy. Like I'm just doing what I love here. At the end of the day, I love what I'm doing. I love trading. I actually love now being like a mentor and sharing and helping. I'm not doing anything. Out of the ordinary. I'm just doing what I have a calling and passion for, and so that can have so much effect, influence, and positivity on people's lives. Wow, man! Like I'm so grateful, happy, thankful, and I just end by just saying this. I pray that everybody watching this video can find the peace that I have found in my life, but also the trading profits, right? We can use these profits. It's not about making profits and being selfish with them, but using these profits for the greater good, building the kingdom. And I feel that, I know that wealth is not bad. Nowhere does it say that wealth is bad, as long as you are clever and using that wealth for good. And I feel that, if I teach the message here, as well as teaching you how to make such profits on trading, well, Chartered Champions could be a very blessed community. And that's what we're aiming for here, right? So, anyway, I wrap it up. I am in a short trade right now on Bitcoin. I am looking for a little bit lower. My next zone sits at around the CC Fibonacci. And again, we'll trade a reaction. So what I mean by that is if we just go straight down, of course, there's no long trade to be had because there was zero reaction. So it is a reactionary based trade. I do want to see a little bit of a reaction. Otherwise, if there is no reaction, I'll just simply remain in my short trade. If there is a nice reaction, I will take a long. And of course, the first place of the updates are always going to be to the champions, in the Discord, on the website. I've already done 2 live streams this morning. So you have another live stream this afternoon. We've had like 4 live streams already today. Like we just got content galore, if that's what you're after. The whole educational library, of course. And that's the main thing that you want to do here is learn. So you're not waiting on me to say I've taken a short or I've taken a long, but you understand how to do the trades, what the setups are. You are self-sufficient. I have done my job of teaching you so you can go out and do this alone. Okay, that's the goal here. So anyway, I wrap it up. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope it all made sense. If you want more, you know where to get it, chartchampions.com. I thank you all ever so much. And that is me now signing out. Cheers. Thank you, and goodbye.